I can remember a funny story, how our daughter, Kristen, so now she's at age 4, okay? So we've been doing dating for a little bit at this point. But she helped her younger sister, Justine, who was like 2 at the time, prepare for her first date night with me. It was so cute, man. She helped her pick out like a dress and, matching shoes. I remember she was so cute. She loaned her favorite plastic pearl necklace, like this cherished,
That's awesome.
Right? And she told her which restaurant she should have me take her to, which I think she picked this place where we were living at the time. It was like, it still is our favorite burrito place in the world. So at 4 years old, Kristen was already becoming a foodie,
That's awesome.
Yeah. And like they were like football burritos anyway. But Justine beamed like with a smile that was as wide as the sky when she came out from her room, like ready for her date. Man, she knew she was beautiful. She felt beautiful. Her sister helped her get ready.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. And I even get a little choked up right now, just kind of recalling it,
Welcome to the Everyday Disciple podcast, where you'll learn how to live with greater intentionality and an integrated faith that naturally fits into every area of life. In other words, discipleship as a lifestyle. This is the stuff your parents, pastors, and seminary professors probably forgot to tell you. And now, here's your host, Caesar Kalinowski.
Hey, Heath, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. I'm stoked about the show.
Yeah, this has been a cool topic. As when I've talked about it just in different teaching and training, when I've written about it, when I've done videos on it, talking about why dads should be regularly dating their daughters. I don't know, it's powerful. Like everybody kind of knows we should, like I've heard about it. It's not like, hey, Caesar created this idea. No, I don't know where I got it from, but I'm glad we're going to talk about it today. We're going to give some pretty sweet and proven advice on how people can do this effectively. Yeah. So if it sounds good, but you're not sure how to get started, well, by the end of all this, you'll be good to go.
Yeah, I usually have a little bit of heads up as far as where this episode's going. But the thing that's exciting about this is you're older than me. You've got 2 daughters that are now out of the house. Mm-hmm. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter that is just starting to really capture my heart because you see her emotions and personality, and she's beautiful like her mother. And so I feel like I'm at the start of the race, and you are...
But here's the thing, it doesn't end, okay? So daddy-daughter dates hopefully will become for people. It is for me. It's one of the most cherished things that you'll ever do as a parent.
Yeah.
It really is. And my wife, Tina, and I have one son. He's our firstborn, Caesar. And we also have 2 daughters, Kristen and Justine. And we're a really blessed couple. And we've done a lot of things wrong as parents, okay? Like, ask my kids. But one thing we got right was dating our kids. And so I'm going to talk primarily today about daddies dating their daughters, but this really is parents dating their kids because Tina did the same thing with little C, okay? Yep. So the things we learned from dating our kids, okay, about ourselves and them has been amazing, man. And it's like a different environment, and so it happens. And we found no better way to unlock their hearts and kind of pour into them this sense of beauty and value than these cherished times together on dates. It's kind of special, man. And
That's
so
cool, man.
if people are doing it, they know that already. Hopefully this will give them some tips to even upgrade things. But if you're not, this episode hopefully will convince you to do that.
So one of the things that I had mentioned is you're down the road. You have 2 great girls out of the house.
Why are you always pointing out that I'm so much older than you?
You're
we
older.
look exactly like the same age.
What you do? It's uncanny. When you think about dating, when was a good age for you to start? Because I'm going, I got a 1.5-year-old. Is it too young? Should maybe be 15, or should I wait till, when would you get going with this?
Yeah, I don't think there's ever, it's never too early or too late in a sense.
Okay.
But if they're not old enough to remember it all, maybe, I don't know. That's not the case even. Because I can remember when my kids were 2 or 3, when Kristen and Justine were 2 or 3. And we did this when we started this. And they would dress up and they'd pick their favorite place to eat dinner. Okay, that's key. Usually when they were really little, they just picked crummy fast food stuff,
The old golden arches?
Yeah. Oh, no kidding. No, really, and I'm... And I'd take them out, right? And I always did it separately. I'd give them that sort of one-on-one time. And I'd open their doors for them, displaying my best chivalry and manners and stuff, probably better for them than I would do for Tina sometimes. They'd ask me lots of questions and we'd laugh, and it was just super fun, right? It really, that's a key thing. I had no giant agenda other than that they would feel loved and cherished. And I'd tell them how beautiful they were and how awesome it was to have this time. Now, that takes intentionality. I mean, it's true. It's in my heart. But it'd be easy just to go like, hey, hurry up with those fries. We're going to go see a movie. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
but I was like, man, honey, you look so beautiful.
Hmm.
Like, wow, who did your hair? Mommy did it, of course. You know, like, oh, it looks super extra special tonight. Like, I'm so lucky. What a lucky dad to be on this day, you know?
Yeah.
And we would just, you're special, honey. And I love you. And God loves you. And like they would hear it differently,
Yeah.
you know, because it was like one-on-one. And they,
Well, I even remember you saying like the importance of valuing even the place they chose, like being able to go like, wow, you're making great decisions. The fact that you would choose, maybe not McDonald's, but being able to go like,
this was really fun. Like, you pick good places.
yeah,
just-
encouraging them in those
yeah,
little areas.
exactly. I can remember, funny story, how our daughter, Kristen, so now she's at age 4. Okay. So we've been doing dating for a little bit at this point. She's like nearly 30 now, you know, but she helped her younger sister, Justine, who was like 2 at the time, prepare for her first date night with me. It was so cute, man. She helped her pick out like a dress and, you know, matching shoes. I remember she is so cute. She loaned her favorite plastic pearl necklace, you know, like this cherished, you know.
That's awesome.
Right. And she told her which restaurant she should have me take her to, which I think she picked this place where we were living at the time. It was like, it still is our favorite burrito place in the world. So at 4 years old, Kristen was already becoming a foodie, you know.
That's
it was like,
awesome.
Yeah. And like they were like football burritos anyway, but Justine beamed like with a smile that was as wide as the sky when she came out from her room, like ready for her date. I mean, she knew she was beautiful. She felt beautiful. Her sister helped her get ready.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. And I even get a little choked up right now, just kind of recalling it, you know, right? And then, like I said earlier, my wife did the same thing with our son throughout the years, teaching him how to be a gentleman, how to eat with proper manners, you know, how to treat a girl appropriately as she dated him. I remember one time my wife ran into some gal that my son had been on a group date, like a school dance thing. You know, he was probably, I don't know, 14 or something at the time. We can talk at some point about when is too young to date and all that. Some days maybe we'll do an episode on parenting and dating, you know. But anyway, he was on a group date somewhere in that age, and my wife had run into one of the girls, and she was like bragging on our son. Caesar was the only one who knew which fork to eat with, and he held it right, and he knew how to cut his meat. Everybody else were like animals, you know. So it was like my wife was like, score, you know.
Proud moment.
Yeah, super, right? Little things, man, little things. But
Man, that's cool. It seems like if you get started at a young age, you're actually doing less damage control maybe at like 15, 16-year-olds. You know, like my daughter turns 15. I've neglected her whole life, and now I'm trying to clean up as dad. It seems like getting into a habit from a young age is a way
if you can. Yeah,
if you can. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
So what would be your top reasons when you started thinking or maybe even heard this information about dating your daughter? What were your top reasons for wanting to date your daughters?
All right. Yeah. I got 5 things that come to mind. There's probably more, but here we go. So the first one is concentrated daddy time shows your daughter that she's a priority in your life. And you know how that is. There's so much going on, especially when your kids are little.
Yep.
You're busy, you know, so you're in ministry, maybe you're in business, starting a business. I mean, it's very easy for them not to feel like a priority. So that concentrated time shows her that she is a priority in your life. And often we can communicate as fathers to our kids that, you know, we leave the house each day to go take care of the really important things, you know, work and ministry and other responsibilities. They're like our top priority, and everything and everyone seems to come after. And that may not be our heart, right? That's not our intent.
But the signal it sends is
That's
backwards.
it. The way we manage our time and the allotment of that actually broadcasts pretty loudly to where our heart lies, right?
Yeah.
So the hours given to these special times together show your daughter how important and valuable she is to you. And here's the other thing. You're actually modeling God's heart towards her when you do this.
Wow.
Like there's a gospel kind of motivation to that. I want my daughter, you know, or if you're a wife listening to this, you want your son. I want to know that God loves them and cherishes them and always has time for them. You know,
That's
so
great,
it's super
man.
important. Next, here's a little bit of a tip here. Let your daughter set the agenda for the date. You know, as parents, we usually determine most of what our kids eat every day and where they're allowed to go and what they wear, at least when they're younger, right? And et cetera. But let your daughter pick the place for the meal, like we'd already talked about, or what movie you're going to go see, and, you know, what you'll do afterwards. I always like to do something afterwards. Maybe you go shopping or, you know, get some ice cream or whatever.
Yeah.
Let them pick, you know, how formal or how casual the date will be. You know, when they're little, they really like getting dressed up.
Sure.
But, you know, as they get a little older, you know, like 12 or 13, it's like, Dad, what's with the bow tie? It's like, so let them sort of pick,
Sure.
because a date can be
It's a great idea.
right? Even let her pick out what you'll wear on the date. I've had that where I look at my daughter come in. It's like, what are you wearing? Like, I'm wearing this. Why don't you pick out what Dad wears tonight so it matches and you feel good about it? And it's just extra, right? It's
That's
just
cool.
special. It's just a bonus. They'll love it, right? And then praise her for her choices on everything, letting her know she's got great taste,
Yeah.
like in clothes and like what she picked. And God, she's so fun to be with. This will build her confidence in her ability to make decisions as she grows up. Like we want that. We want our kids to feel confident and that they can make good choices.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, when you're on the date, ask lots of questions and really listen to her answers. These date times, they're just primed for truly getting to know your daughter and her heart in a deeper way. Ask her about her week. What was the best thing? What was the worst? And why? And here's a really good thing. Ask wondering questions to spark her imagination or yours. Like, honey, have you ever wondered about this?
Sure.
Have you ever
That's
wondered
great.
about like what you'll be doing in 5 years? She's like 12 or 10 or ask questions about her favorite fill in the blank, whatever, or ask her about the future. If you were to get married someday, what would your perfect husband be like? I mean, that's so awesome.
Well, it also develops from a young age, being able to have that trust built, right?
Yeah.
You're building this avenue of answering and knowing that she's listening.
Yeah. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? And why? Isn't that cool, right? Get to know their heart, Never challenge her, like whatever, like, like I'd live there. Like I'd hate that. I was like, no, don't challenge it.
Italy, boring.
Yeah. But ask good open-ended questions. And then, if you're really listening, it's easy to ask follow-up questions as well. Listen to her heart in these answers. She's dying to reveal it. She wants to be known. And when someone you know and trust shows you unconditional love, like in this way, you'll really open up. We're all that way. What a beautiful thing to do with your daughter.
Yep.
Okay. Overall here, treat her like a princess the entire time. Tell her over and over how beautiful she is. Even to this day, I tell my daughter, Kristen, almost every time I see her, man, you look great today. You look beautiful. I love that dress on you. Yeah. And she still kind of shyly shrugs it off. Like, I know, Dad, or thanks, Dad. It's just like,
Sure.
And she's got her own baby, she's married, it's like, she's, like I said, almost 30. It's like, but that's just a pattern. And she has told me, I grew up believing I was beautiful because you always told me I was, and I trust you. And brother was the same way. He always told me how beautiful I was.
Wow, that's cool.
Right? And, that's awesome, right? So,
so cool.
Treat her like a princess, open doors for them. Take a lot of pictures, post them online on your Facebook, bragging about your daughter. Trust me, man, they love that. Don't worry about being a little over the top, okay? It's embarrassingly awesome.
Yeah.
Now, and you have to do that appropriately to their age, you know what I mean? But listen, no one is usually too bummed when someone over loves on them, like, right? Start building or build on traditions too as you go on more and more dates together over time. Like, you found some place you really liked and like, that was the best dessert we ever had. So every time you go there, we always have to have the chocolate volcano cake, like we have to. Or, whenever we go out, we've always gotten, this type of ice cream. And we just do it. That's our thing. We always end the date with that. Like build on or build new traditions, and just spoil her a little bit. Okay.
It's beautiful.
It's okay. And remember, you get to be the first at a lot of things with your daughter. I was my daughter's first date, and I like to think I was her first true love. Get choked up. Ooh, wow. I took her to her first musical. We had many of her favorite foods to this day and experiences for the first time when we were together on dates.
Yeah.
She'll tell you that, But most importantly of all, you get to set the bar for how she'll expect to be treated by boys and then other men for the rest of her life. So set the bar high. You're the first one who gets to set the bar on her value and how she'll be treated. So set that bar high.
The next question I was going to ask was along those lines of how has dating your daughters affected your relationships with them now as adults? Like, has it affected their relationships with men, with their own husbands? I know Daniel, Kristen's husband, is a stud and
great guy.
And because you set the bar high from a young age, like, hey, this is the expectation of how a man should treat you, and he's awesome,
right? And she knew that. And there was other guys she dated that it's like they weren't hitting the mark, they weren't hitting the bar, and they were good guys. It wasn't like they were evil or it's just. but it wasn't. She knew. She knew.
Yeah,
She knew what she was
absolutely.
expecting. So
So you've seen it happen. You've
yeah,
seen it.
and I still try and date my daughters. Even though they're adults, and like in this case, Kristen now is married and has her own son, who she needs to start dating soon. He's only 5 months, but the trust and the closeness, and I say the friendship that we now share with our kids, both of us as adults now, they're adults too, was in part or largely formed during these times on dates. So much of normal life, even if you're a great parent, you're loving, it's still, you're like, it's like, hey, you got to get that homework done. Hey, let's clean the room. Hey, it's time for bed. Hey, you know what I mean? Like, it's life, right?
Yeah.
These sort of cherished moments build a closeness and a friendship there. And yes, our dating really did have a big effect on their relationships with boys and then men. I can't tell you how many times my daughters would, come home, later in life, from their own dates with young men and tell Tina and I how disappointed they were at the guy's manners or how picky he was when he, everything we ate, he was just super picky about it. He didn't like anything. Or just the opposite. They would light up and tell us when a date of theirs actually hit the mark and he made them feel respected and cherished. And they looked for these qualities then. They really did. And we talk about it. They were like, well, he was fun, but I don't know. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel protected, or like, I think he respects me, but it was so... it wasn't, no, it's not what I'm looking for.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so they looked for the qualities in men that they had been shown and modeled on our dates together.
That's cool.
Imperfect for sure. I'm not a perfect husband. I'm not a perfect man. I wasn't a perfect dad. I wasn't a perfect daddy date. But man, over time, that intentionality.
Yeah.
And like you said, my daughter, Kristen, married Daniel. He's a great guy, man. Yeah. And he was that guy that right away she could point to all these things were like, Dad, that's what God had. That's what I want. That's what we've been praying for, right? And he is in spades. I love him. Love you, Daniel.
Now, one of the things that you had just even mentioned was, you weren't a perfect dad. You weren't even a perfect daddy date. Is there a redemptive sort of quality to having these consistent dates with your daughters? See, like, is there a way to go back in time a little and address maybe some of the hurts or the missteps or the bad marks you've made on them in your parenting?
Yeah, I think there's always opportunity for that in life, period, right?
Yeah.
But, like I said, Tina and I are a super blessed couple, and we've done a lot of things wrong, but this dating our kids thing was on the mark, right? Taking them out on dates. And I think partly because these date times provide the opportunity to actually right some wrongs that we made, to seek forgiveness, and both give and receive grace from one another.
Yeah.
It's... when you're kind of having that time where everybody's guards down, it's super fun. You're showing love and affection and focus on your daughter. It's the perfect time to say, hey, honey, you remember that conversation we had last week? Be honest with me. Did that hurt you when I said that?
Yeah.
I thought so. I want to ask you to forgive me for that. That was just selfish of Dad. And they're always so full of grace. Oh, Dad, you're okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not okay, honey. That was super selfish. And what I said was mean and just,
Yep.
I love you. It's not how I see you. Can you forgive me? Of course, Dad. So yeah, I think these dates provide like a super extra opportunity for like redemption and, like I said, grace to be given and received.
Yeah.
And I often, when I would receive grace in those situations for my daughters, I believed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, yeah, I want to get out of the conversation. It's awkward. Yeah, Dad, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
like, no, that was good. That was right. Pretty sweet. Pretty important, I think.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that we do daddy dates with my 3 boys because they're a bit older. Reagan is obviously too young to remember anything right now, but
How old's Reagan?
18, 19 months. But they become such, you really do get to see their personality show when it's just you and them. The honesty, the walls come down.
That sibling dynamic kind of peels back, right?
Yeah, 'cause
which don't underestimate that, when they have their guard up or their persona on to be around their siblings. Yeah.
Yeah, because in a typical household environment, they're getting the attention that everyone else kind of is, and so when you actually pry them away, they come to life.
Yep.
And one of the things that I'm just thinking off the cuff is, I don't know if you experienced it because you were dating years ago, but I'm just amazed at how, and my wife is constantly on me about it. Put your cell phones down, right? I think that's something that you would say that we didn't even put on the list yet, but like the importance of just that time when you're together. Don't be checking emails. Don't be getting your news alerts on your phone. Like, that's a time.
I'm gonna give everybody the perfect daddy daughter date checklist Okay.
Okay.
Like anybody who wants it, I spent a lot of time working this out. It's like a full checklist from how you pull out your calendar and set the day to, everything to do and not forget. And don't forget to take pictures before you leave and then take a picture, I mean, it's like everything. So even if you're brand new to this and you have pretty low intentionality, the checklist it'll give you the perfect daddy-daughter date. Okay. So
if you're a listener like me, excited right now, and you want some tangible things that you could walk away with, this is the time where we do it during the big 3 each week.
Yep.
It's if you're driving, you can't take the notes. We've got it all packaged. We've done the notes for you, and we're going to give them to you for free, the big 3 this week. All you've got to do to get it is go to everydaydisciple.com/big 3. So the big 3 are the big takeaways we want to leave people with that they can tangibly jump on right now. What are the big 3 for this week?
Okay, first, it's never too late or too early to get started dating your daughter or son. And if you've never done this and maybe your daughter's a teenager already, the next best time to get started is now. Don't feel like I missed it and that would have been great. I'll start with the younger ones. Like, no, do it. Explain that this is something that you want to try out. Okay? Like don't scare them. Like this is our new thing. I want to try this, honey. And be sure to let her pick everything you do or don't do on that first date.
That's cool.
Especially if they're a little older. Okay. Yeah. But it's never too late or too early. Get started, get after it. Number 2, dating your daughter is a crucial part of intentional parenting. So much I look back at my parenting and it was not that intentional. It was like get through the day, get through the week, get through the school year.
Get them in showers, yeah.
Right. It just is, right? And that's real. But this is a critical part of intentional parenting. It takes time. It takes some planning. It takes humility on your part, actually, but the benefits last a lifetime. Developing predictable patterns and anticipation are also key here. So it's fun to get out your calendar and plan your date nights together months in advance, right? So she knows, start off by maybe trying to have a monthly date and then, just watch. It's more fun when you both can look forward to those special times. Like, hey, it's this Friday? It's next Friday. Oh, I can't wait. We're going to go here. I changed my mind. We're going to go, it's just right. Fun. Don't spring it on her like, hey, let's get in the car. We're, like, right.
We're leaving.
So
yeah,
it's intentional.
Okay.
And then number 3 is, it's download that free perfect daddy-daughter date checklist right now. All right. It's like if you're driving, you can't, but as soon as you get there, just get the big 3, get the checklist, and I'll give you step-by-step advice and suggestions for putting together really great dates with your daughter. Okay. This is some time-tested stuff that I know that people will love and find helpful. So that's really the third of the big 3 is get that, don't have to recreate the wheel. And if you're already good at it, then 2 things, like maybe you pick up a few new ideas.
Yep. I was actually sneaking over to the website to start entering my email address to get the big 3 as you're talking, because I really want that checklist. And if you want the download of this week's big 3 takeaways, all you got to do, it's go to everydaydisciple.com/big 3. You're going to receive the notes for this week's big 3, as well as that free perfect daddy-daughter date checklist. And one of the things we like to ask you to do is if you're enjoying this and this is helpful, share this with somebody you love. Pass on the blessing. And maybe there's somebody in your life or your missional community that could benefit. Maybe they have a young daughter. You could go, hey, just listen to this great podcast. I've got a checklist printout for you.
Pass on the blessing.
Yeah.
Right? Send them to the site. Get the word out. Right? We're trying to help you love on your daughter as well. So help us pass that on. A lot of people we don't.
Yeah. And like you just had mentioned, on Facebook, if you just search for the Everyday Disciple podcast, there's a growing army of people that are engaging weekly conversations with you and I.
Yeah.
And it'd be a great place to hear, hey, went on a date night. This is what we did.
Yeah.
This is a question I
don't
thought
have to impress
ask.
anybody. Just what did you do? Yeah. Great question. Love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
So let's keep the dialogue going there. Thanks for joining us today. For more information on this show and to get loads of free discipleship resources, visit everydaydisciple.com. And remember, you really can live with the spiritual freedom and relational peace that Jesus promised every day.